5 to 7. What do you think that means? Well, for a student in a really tough program, it's the difference between a pretty good grade and an absolutely fantastic one, the kind of jump that really opens doors. But how do you even make a leap like that? Well, that brings us to our next number.
Over 190. That's how many public, verifiable, 5-star reviews there are for one company that says it can make that 5 to 7 jump happen. Okay, you've got my attention, but there's got to be a catch, right? A huge long-term contract? Well, check out our last number. 0. That's the amount of long-term client lock-in they require. So, incredible results, tons of glowing reviews, and absolutely no restrictive contracts. How on earth does a business model like that even survive? All right, let's get into it. Today, we're going to deconstruct the entire business strategy behind Hack Your Course. It's a premium tutoring service that has built its whole identity on being hyper-specialized and getting real, tangible results. We're going to pull back the curtain and see exactly how they pull this off in such a demanding corner of the education world. So here's our game plan. First, we'll get a feel for the high-stakes world they play in. Then, we'll dig into their secret sauce, the specialist educators they hire. After that, we'll look at how they manage quality, we'll decode what you're actually paying for, and finally, we'll check out the proof they use to back it all up. Okay, so to really get what makes this company tick, you first have to understand the battlefield. Hack Your Course works only in the world of the International Baccalaureate, or IB, and Advanced Placement, AP programs. And let me tell you, these are not your average high school classes. They're a whole different beast. You see, these programs aren't just about learning harder subjects, they're entirely different ecosystems. They've got their own ways of teaching, incredibly complex grading systems, and unique projects like internal assessments or the massive extended essay. This creates the central problem. A tutor who just knows, say, biology, isn't going to cut it. You need someone who knows IB biology, inside and out. And that right there leads us to the absolute core of their strategy, the people, the who. This is where Hack Your Course draws a massive, clear line in the sand, separating themselves from pretty much everyone else in the tutoring game. Just look at the difference. On one side, you have generalist services that cover everything under the sun, usually with university students as tutors. Hack Your Course, completely different playbook. They focus only on IB and AP. They don't hire subject experts. They hire curriculum experts. These are professional educators who live and breathe these specific programs every single day. So who are these tutors, really? Well, they're not students looking for a side hustle. They are full-time professional educators. We're talking people with advanced degrees, PhDs, Masters of Education. They need to have at least 3 years of direct teaching experience in these specific curricula. A lot of them even went through the IB program themselves. These are career educators, handpicked through a super rigorous process. So does all that experience actually make a difference? Well, listen to this from a student named Thomas Stong. He said his IB chemistry grade went from a 5 to a 7. Hey, that's the jump we talked about at the very beginning. He said his classes became a breeze. And the result of all that? He got into the super competitive engineering program at UBC. That is a tangible, life-changing outcome. So you've got these amazing educators on your team. Great. But how do you guarantee that quality session after session for every single student? Well, this isn't just a match you with a tutor and disappear kind of service. It's a system that's actively managed from start to finish. It's really a 3-part process. First, they do a personalized matching that goes way beyond just the subject. They look at learning style, personality, the whole 9 yards. Second, tutors have to submit detailed reports after every single session, which management actually reviews. And third, all of this creates a real partnership, where the main office is in constant communication with the tutor and the family to make sure everything's on track. Their whole service is also designed to take all the risk off of the client. The first session is guaranteed. If it's not a perfect fit, you don't pay. Simple as that. There are no long-term lock-in contracts. It's just a pay-as-you-go monthly model. And because they're online only, they can break down geographic barriers, matching a student in, say, California with the world's best IB physics tutor who happens to live in Toronto. Okay, so let's talk about the elephant in the room. A service this specialized, this hands-on, it's obviously not going to be the cheapest option out there. So that brings us to the most important question of all: price versus value. How do they justify charging a premium? This is the question every smart parent or student is going to ask. If you can find a tutor for less, why would you pay more? And their whole argument is that you're not just buying an hour of a tutor's time, you're investing in an entire support system.
Let's break down what's actually packed into that price. You're getting access to elite, pre-vetted experts. That removes all the guesswork and risk for you. You're getting a personalized match. You get professional admin, so you never have to worry about scheduling or billing headaches. You get constant quality control. And, maybe most importantly, you're buying into a proven methodology that's been tweaked and perfected for over a decade. They're selling a result, not an hourly rate. And that result is crystal clear. The whole goal here is a tangible return on your investment. We are talking about getting into top-tier universities and snagging the scholarship opportunities that can come with those high grades. That's the real product they're selling. Okay, so they make some pretty big claims, but how do they actually prove it? This brings us to their results framework, which is all about transparency and letting third parties do the talking for them. First off, they point to awards, like the Consumer Choice Award. But here's the critical detail. These awards are won through independent market research. They aren't something a company can just pay for to get a shiny logo. That's a huge distinction. And second, they lean heavily on their reviews. The key word here is verifiable. All of those 190-plus reviews are on Google, a public platform. That means the company can't delete the bad ones or cherry-pick the good ones like you could on your own website. It's a very deliberate strategy to build trust through transparency. And man, these reviews tell a story. Here's one from a parent, Kyle Schilling, who said HYC totally saved her daughter's senior year of IB. Her only regret? Not finding them sooner. And the result for her daughter? Admission to the University of Washington. And this track record is the ultimate proof of that return on investment. We're not just talking about getting a better grade in one class. We're talking about students getting into some of the most competitive and prestigious universities in the world. Stanford, MIT, the Ivy Leagues, and the best schools across North America. This is the evidence they point to when you ask if their premium model is worth it. So, there you have it. That's the model. Deep, deep specialization, hiring only professional career educators, managing quality every step of the way, and focusing everything on verifiable, high-stakes results. It all leaves us with one big final question to think about. As the academic world gets more competitive every single year, is this kind of hyper-specialization the future of educational support?